Today I'm going to be talking about the most effective and least effective things you can say to yourself after making a mistake. Hi everyone. Have you ever noticed how you talk to yourself after you make a mistake or have a setback? It's something I call coaching style, and it's extremely important and one of the biggest things that can lead to a person beating themselves up or getting down on themselves. But before I get into that, just a couple of disclaimers to go over. I'm a registered psychologist in the province of British Columbia, Canada, and this video is for informational purposes only. It is not intended as a substitute or replacement for advice from your doctor or mental health professional. Now, with those things out of the way, let's start talking about coaching style. Now, the thing is, we'll all make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. We all will make mistakes. We will all have setbacks where we recognize that we did something wrong, or we recognize that things didn't go quite as we expected. Now, the key is the way you talk to yourself when you have a setback is extremely important in terms of determining what you do with that setback and how you feel afterwards, and how you're able to move forward afterwards. And this is what I call coaching style. You think about what a coach does. Is a coach helps teach an athlete the best way and the most effective way to perform in a sport. Well, try to think about how you coach yourself and how you talk to yourself throughout life. And the thing is, we all have this dialogue that's going on in our head, whether we realize it or not, and we're always kind of evaluating ourselves and always kind of evaluating how we're doing. And the way we coach ourselves is critical in terms of setting ourselves up for future successes, or causing us to give up or see ourselves as ineffective or inconsequential. So to explain this idea of coaching style, I want you to imagine a story. And I want you to imagine that there is a girl playing softball. Now, this is about an 8 or 9-year-old girl, and she's playing little kid softball, and she's out in left field. Now, it's little kid softball, so nothing ever gets hit out to left field. And so she's standing out in left field for most of the afternoon and not really doing very much, kind of bored, sort of playing with the grass and, checking out butterflies that are going by. Now, late in the game, it's a close game. Bases are loaded, and a high fly ball gets hit to this little girl. And she gets really excited because she finally gets to do something. And so she goes to settle in under the ball and to catch it. And just before she goes to catch it, she realizes that she's misjudged how far the ball was hit. And the ball sails over her head. And so she runs, she gets the ball, she throws it in, a few runs score. Now, the coach of her team, we'll call him Coach A. Now, Coach A comes out of the dugout and he makes a beeline towards this girl. And then Coach A starts to berate the little girl for the mistake. How stupid could you be? You blew it. You're going to cost us the game. What were you thinking? What is wrong with you? You screw up like that again, you're going to be stapled to the bench. And the coach proceeds to head back to the dugout. Well, how do you think that little girl's going to feel? Well, she's probably going to feel pretty awful. She felt bad enough when she made the mistake, and now with the coach berating her, she feels even worse about it. And so she's probably ashamed and embarrassed and humiliated. And so the next day, when it comes to softball practice, she may tell her parents, you know what, I'm not feeling very well today. I don't really want to go. to softball practice. And the next week, when it comes to the softball game, you know what? I've just got too much homework to do. I can't make it for the game. And the next year, when it comes to signing up for softball again, she tells her parents, no, you know what? It's okay. I don't want to play softball anymore. I want to take up dance instead. And so this little girl stops playing softball. Now, I want you to imagine the exact same scenarios. Little girl out in left field. Nothing's happened all game. She's just kind of, sitting around waiting for something to happen. Bases loaded, late in the game. High fly ball gets hit to her. She gets excited. She's going to catch the ball. She misjudges how far the ball was hit. It sails over her head. She throws it in. A few runs score. Now this time, coach comes out to her. We'll call him Coach B. And Coach B walks over to this girl and he says to her, look, made a mistake. It's not great, but it's not the end of the world. Remember that whenever the ball gets hit to you, it always looks like it's closer than it is. So what you want to do is take a few steps back and then move forward into the ball so you can catch it in front of you. And Coach B goes back to the dugout. Now notice, Coach B didn't tell this girl, hey, great job. That was super, the way you threw the ball in after you missed it. Coach B acknowledges that a mistake was made. But the difference is Coach B didn't berate the girl. Coach B didn't beat her up. Coach B didn't humiliate her or mock her or criticize her mercilessly. Instead, Coach B acknowledged that there was a mistake, but then got her to learn ways, or got her to recognize ways of learning from the mistake. And so the next time it happens, she's able to learn from what happened and get better at softball. Now, if you were the parent of that little girl, who would you rather have as her coach? Would you rather it be Coach A, or would you rather it be Coach B? Well, whenever I ask my clients this question, they say, well, obviously, I would rather have Coach B coaching my daughter. And then I say, okay, well, why is that? Why would you want Coach B instead of Coach A? Well, because Coach B helps encourage and helps teach my daughter, whereas Coach A just beats her up and gets really down on her. Okay, so we all agree that Coach B is the better coach. Now, when you have a setback, when you make a mistake, do you tend to be more Coach A with yourself? Or do you tend to be more Coach B? Well, most of the time when I ask my clients that, they'll say to me, well, I tend to be more Coach A. And that's really common because somewhere along the line, we picked up this idea or this notion that the harsher we are with ourselves when we make a mistake, the more we beat ourselves up when we make a mistake, the more likely we are to learn and to grow from that. That if we were to let ourselves off easy, then it wouldn't be a learning experience. But just like Coach A makes that little girl feel terrible about herself and makes her want to sort of quit or not continue with playing softball, being Coach A with ourselves likewise doesn't help us learn from the experience, doesn't help us learn from mistakes. It just ends up making ourselves feel worse about ourselves. And it makes it so that we don't want to try or see no purpose or point in trying because we're not very good. So I see this a lot with people with depression, where they make a mistake, something doesn't go exactly the way they want it to go, and they beat themselves up. They get really down on themselves, and then it's like, okay, well, what's the point in even trying? I also see it in my clients who have panic attacks, and maybe they're going really well. They've learned some panic management skills, and they've gone a little while without having a panic attack, and then they have a panic attack, and then they get really down on themselves and beat themselves up because they went so long without having a panic attack and they screwed up somehow. Again, being Coach A with yourself, all it's really going to do is sap your motivation and self-worth. Whereas being Coach B with yourself is going to help you acknowledge what the mistake was, but help you actually learn from the mistake. So how do you use this information? What can you do? Well, one of the things I'll often ask my clients to do is just pay attention to your coaching style. And when you catch yourself being Coach A, to try and think, what would be a more Coach B way of thinking about this situation? Because once you start to recognize how often and how regularly you tend to be Coach A with yourself, and you start to shift towards a more Coach B approach, that can have a huge impact on just helping you not be so harsh with yourself, but also helping yourself feel better about the journey that you're on and the process that you're taking, and that, you know what, you're going to make mistakes, and that's okay, because you can learn from those mistakes, and those mistakes are actually going to make things better in the long run. So I hope you find that information helpful on coaching style. I would love to hear your thoughts and ideas about this, so please leave me some comments in the comments section down below. If you're enjoying my videos and would like to see more, please hit that subscribe button and notification bell, and you'll be alerted every week when I post a new video. It's also really helpful in terms of getting the channel out to more people, so I'd really appreciate it if you could do that. As always, thank you for making it all the way to the end of this video, and I will see you in the next one.